Dila, welcome.
Ya, Bu Rina.
Okay, can we start our course today?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, welcome back to the International Virtual Course in Mathematical and Quantitative Methods for Islamic Economics and Finance. With me, Rina, as a moderator for this session. On behalf of the organizing committee, we apologize that we have rescheduled the agenda. It's supposed to be Professor Novriana Sumarti with us today, but for some important reasons, we have to switch the schedule. So we have Ibu Dila Puspita, PhD, with us today, who will be sharing her expertise on Islamic portfolio theory. Okay, before we dive into the content, I would like to introduce Ibu Dila first. So I will start screen sharing her CV. Okay, our speaker today is Ibu Dila Puspita, and you can contact her at Center for Advanced Science building, fourth floor at ITB, or you can send mail to dpuspita@itb.ac.id. And then her research interests are mathematical modeling, insurance and financial mathematics, computational finance, portfolio optimization, Sharia compliant portfolio, and takaful. And her education background, she got PhD on actuarial science on September 2021 at University of Waterloo, Canada, with the thesis topic risk modeling in Sharia compliant investment and insurance product. And she got Master of Science and Bachelor of Science at ITB. And then previous and present position as an assistant professor from January 2013 to present at Industrial and Financial Research Group at Department of Mathematics, ITB. And then on April 2014 to present as a researcher at Research Consortium Financial Modeling, Optimization and Simulation at ITB. And then on January 2017 to April 2021 as a teaching assistant at Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science at University of Waterloo. And then on August 2010 to present as a researcher at Center of Mathematical Modeling and Simulation at ITB. And also on January 2013 to 2016 as an instructor at School of Business and Management at ITB. Here are some lists of her publication. I think we can read. There are some maybe there are so many. So and then her grants at February to December 2023 at program reset FMIPA ITB. On 2022 also at program reset FMIPA ITB on February to December 2022 program reset Kakak ITB on February to December 2022 she got program pengabdian masyarakat ITB. Okay, here are some list of awards. She got travel awards at CIMPA School, Marrakesh, Morocco, on April 2013, and then 12th AIFC conference as the 6th Best Paper Award at Makassar on June 2018. And then she got scholarship, doctoral scholarship from LPDP, and then graduate teaching assistantship from University of Waterloo, Canada, and then graduate research scholarship from University of Waterloo, Canada, and master program fast track fellowship at ITB, and then an undergraduate academic merit scholarship at ITB. And then on fall season 2017, she got teaching award as a best teaching award at University of Waterloo, Canada. And on 2008 until 2010, she got Dean's List Student Award at ITV. And professional awards, she got certificate exams as broker-dealer representative, the Committee for Capital Market, Professional Standards Indonesia 2013 to 2015. And then here are some list of her presentations at several cities in Indonesia, and also in Canada. Services she is she participated in accreditation team Magister of Actuarial Science ITB on January-November 2022, and also reviewer at Journal of Islamic Accounting and Business Research and Journal of Indonesian Mathematical Society, and also Malaysian Journal of Mathematical Science. And also the committee of the 2023 International Conference in Optimization and Financial Mathematics, committee of the Mathematical Modeling Competition, SimCovid, Simulasi dan Pemodelan COVID-19 Indonesia team, and organization committee of the workshop on education, capital market, industry linkage, committee of the mathematical modeling competitions, scientific committee for Indonesian students conference in science and mathematics 2013 to 2016, committee at symposium on biomathematics. Ibu Dila is a member of IndoMS, Indonesian Mathematical Society, and her hardware and software skills are in computer programming on R, MATLAB, Maple, and Mathematica. Okay, that's about biography of Ibu Dila. So it is time to for us to find some insight from Ibu Dila. So I think without further ado, let's invite Ibu Dila. Ibu Dila, please welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Burina, for introducing me to the participants. And also, I would like to thank Ibu Gantina, the chair of IBC, and also all the organizers for this other opportunity for me to share my research experience to all the participants. Also, thank you for all of you for being here in this morning. So today we will talk about the portfolio investment. So before I start sharing my slides, I'd like to ask the participant whether is there anyone familiar with the portfolio investment portfolio, or have put some of your money in the capital market, buying some stocks or Bond, is there anyone here? Maybe from ITB or from Malaysia? You can just raise your hands. At the end of this talk, there will be on the two numbers, not too hard. You can just means that you have to do work. Okay, is there anyone here an experience in fast? The name of Wilbert. Is it? Are you Wilbert from ITB? I'm sorry, but can you hear my voice? Currently, I'm using two devices, one for sharing my slides and then the other one using my handphone for my voice and video.
It was a little bit technical issue, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think there's a problem
I don't
with
know.
the internet connection.
Maybe it's my side or only my
Okay.
side or.
Okay, so there's a lag or how, Budina?
No, now it's okay.
No, it's okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, please let me know if there is a problem with my internet connection. So I will start or I will uh, will try to explain my thoughts. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Burina. For yeah. In fast, some of we can hear. Oh, Bu Fitriani say that couldn't hear my voice clearly.
Yes, there are sometimes what is like
Lag. Oh, I'm
putus
sorry.
go. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Could you? I will try to change my connection first.
Okay, yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning. Burina, can you hear my voice?
Yes, yes, it's clear.
Oh, is it better now?
Yes, it's better.
Okay. Yeah. I'm very sorry with the trouble with my internet connection. Hopefully it will be getting better from now on. So today we will talk about the capital market, specifically the investment portfolio. Let me share my screen with my slide. Okay, here we go. Okay, can you see my slides on your screen? Okay. I'm sorry,
Yes,
Burina
yes.
or Husri. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So now let's talk about the Sharia compliant investment portfolio model. So maybe some of you have an experience or familiar with the capital market, especially the Sharia compliant. What is it? So we will talk about this today, starting from what is the investment portfolio, and then what is the Sharia compliant one, and next, after we understand the features of the Sharia capital market, and then we will develop the mathematical model to make our investment portfolio optimized. Okay, so this is the outline of my talk. Firstly, I will introduce the general about capital market, and then the Sharia compliant investment portfolio, the description of this, and then we will go to the features that make the portfolio considered Sharia compliant compared to the conventional one. And then after that, after we understand the features, then we will start to develop the Sharia compliant portfolio model. And then lastly, I will show you how to use our model to the example from the Indonesian stocks. Okay, so this is the introduction. Why we have to talk about the Sharia capital market. So based on the Global Islamic Finance Report in 2019, the Islamic finance industry has a positive annual growth of 6.58% during 2018 in 75 countries, not only in the Islamic countries, but also in Western countries like UK and also America, from its three main sectors, namely Islamic banking, Sharia capital market, and Islamic insurance or takaful. Professor Novriana should talk about Islamic banking today, but it rescheduled to Wednesday. But today we will talk about the Sharia capital market, only this part. And the growing trend of Islamic finance requires in-depth studies of its financial stability and actuarial modeling to make a better business decision. Yeah. Yes. And this study will focus on developing risk model for Sharia compliant investment. So if we want to invest some of our money in the Sharia compliant capital market, then what is the risk under this kind of investment? And then after we understand this risk, and then we will develop the mathematical model to quantify this risk. So this is our objective of today's course. Okay, now we'll go to the Sharia compliant investment portfolio. So if you go to the capital market for investment, then one of the asset class that you will be considered is a stock. Some part of the stock is considered Sharia compliance, while some of them is not considered compliance in terms of the Sharia law. So in order to be Sharia, then the stock need to follow some rules. So in this to be considered Sharia, there are two processes that need to be adhered by that entity or the stocks. The first one is the screening process, and then the second one is the purification process. In the screening process, then we need to check whether the stock, whether a stock is compliant or no. For example, for the stock owned by the company who produce, for example, alcoholic or the or a non or haram or non-halal products, then this stock will be directly considered non-compliance in terms of Sharia. Okay. And then after that, the stocks need also continue to the quantitative screening process, and then lastly, the purification process that will be discussed in detail in the next slide. Okay, in terms of the conventional portfolio model, one of the oldest and the most popular model called the Markowitz model. This model was proposed in 1959, if I'm not mistaken, and still used until now by the fund manager to make the portfolio optimization. And in 2009, Derricks and Marsban extend this Markowitz model for the Sharia portfolio model in Sharia capital market. However, these authors focus only on the asset pre-screening and overlook the importance of ongoing screening. So, if we want to put our asset in the Sharia portfolio, then we need to check that our asset or our stock is always halal or considered Sharia compliant. So here is one example. A hotel is a halal business, right? However, that is possible that the hotel sell a non-Sharia product, for example, alcohol beverages. Okay. If the alcohol beverages so in this case, for this example, we need to check how many percent of the total income from this hotel coming from the non-halal income. For that example is the alcohol beverage. So this hotel will be considered Sharia if the non-halal income less than 5%. We still can put our money in this stock of this hotel. However, once this non-halal income greater than 5%, then the stock is no longer compliant. Then what we have to do is we have to sell the stock at that time. Okay. So in order to put our stock in the Sharia portfolio, only the halal stock, then we need to check the stock is halal or not at the first time we buy the stock. And we need to screening continuously that stock for the whole period of the investment. Once the stock is no longer compliant, then we need to directly sell the stock. Okay, I'm sorry. I think there's a problem. Okay. Sorry, Brina, I need to reshare my screen. Okay. So we will build the mathematical model that have a feature to screen the stock at the beginning of the investment and the whole process of the investment. And then the second one is the purification process. Okay, so for back to the example of the stock of that hotel that have a non-halal income less than 5%, we still can invest our money to that stock. However, at the end of the investment period, or once the hotel share the dividend to the stock owner, then we need to purify our income that coming from that stock. For example, the hotel, the non-halal income from the hotel is 2%. And then we get, for example, for example, we get $10 per $10 per 10 US dollars per stock, then we need to purify 2% of 10 US dollars from our income. How to purify that? Then we need to deduct our dividend income by deducting from our bank account or from our investment income to the Sharia board, and then or to the Sharia board of the capital market or the regulator of the Sharia capital market, and then this 2% will be go to the charity, but for non-consumption charity. So that's the practice of the Sharia compliant investment in the capital market in global, not only in Indonesia, in Malaysia, but also in America, Europe, and Gulf country as well. And in terms of the purification, the assumption of a constant purifications is an extension of the Markowitz model proposed by Derbali. So in 2017, Derbali provides the model that also incorporating the purification process into the mathematical model. However, the author assumed that the purification is given or constant, but in practice, we don't know how much is the percentage of the non-halal income, and how much is the dividend will be shared from the stock. So the purification variables should consider as stochastic variables. So the objective of this course today is to propose a variant of the Markowitz-based Sharia compliant model with stochastic purification and also the screening constraints. Okay, so let's go to the first features of the Sharia portfolio, namely the screening process. So the Sharia stocks, the stocks in the capital market need to be screened first to be considered Sharia. The first one is the qualitative screening process. We just need to check whether the main of the business of the entity. Okay, and then the second one is the quantitative screening process. Because this is the quantitative, so we need to calculate some ratio from the entity or from the stocks financial report. There are 4 types of ratio that need to be checked. The first one is the leverage ratio. The second one is the cash ratio. The fourth one, liquidity ratio. And then the last one is the non-permissible income ratio. And how to calculate the ratio is depend on the Sharia board. This is the Indonesian Sharia board. I give this the other four example. For example, S&P in America, Dow Jones Islamic Market, FTSE, and MSCI. So, for example, in Indonesia, there are only two screening ratio. The first one is leverage ratio, and then the second one is the non-permissible income ratio. To calculate the leverage ratio, we need to check from the financial ratio, the financial report of the stock, how much is the total interest debt, and also how much is the total asset. And the leverage ratio is the total interest debt divided by total asset. If this ratio is less than 45%, then the asset is considered Sharia. Then we also need to check the non-permissible income ratio. We need to calculate as the non-permissible income divided by total revenue. Yeah. And if this value is less than 10%, then the stock is considered compliance based on the Indonesia Sharia board. However, if we go to the American for example, in New York, a capital market, there are two Sharia board, S&P and DJIM, Dow Jones Islamic Market. If we use the S&P, then we need to compare the total income, total interest debt compared to market capitalization of the average of the 36 months. However, if we use the Dow Jones, we need to compare the total interest debt compared to market capitalization with the average of 24 months. And then we need to compare this value with the Sharia boundary, which is 1/3 or 33% here. Okay. So if we see here that the Indonesia Sharia board have the more lenient rule compared to other Sharia board, because we have the higher boundary for the leverage ratio and also for the non-permissible income ratio. Okay. So this is the quantitative screening process. Hence, we need to check. Here, I try to start to make a model or define a variable for incorporating the quantitative Sharia compliant financial ratios criteria as it is. We define FJIK. This is as the financial ratio J. This is J is from 1 to 4, which means that FJ equal to 1 is the leverage ratio, F2 is the cash ratio, and F3 is the liquidity ratio, and F4 is the NPI ratio. While the index of I is the index for the stock. For example, we have a stock in our portfolio. And then the index of K here is 1, 2, or 3. This is depend on the Sharia board. K is equal to 1. This is if we use the Indonesia Sharia Board, which means we use the total income. While J equal to 2 is for S&P. This is for the 36-month market capitalization. And K equal to 3. This is for the 24-month market capitalization. Then we need to calculate FJIK and then compare to the boundary. This is the boundary is UJK, which UJ here is the boundary for the J ratio for the K Sharia board. For example, here if we use J equal to 1, which means we see the boundary.
I think there's a problem with the connection from Ibu Dila on my side.
Sam.
The same. So, okay, everyone, sorry for the inconvenience. We are waiting for Ibu Dila to rejoin or to troubleshoot her connection.
Okay, I'm sorry, Burina and participants. Let me share screen again.
Yes.
Okay, okay, okay. So up to now, is there any question from participants? Not yet. Okay. So I'm sorry. So that is the screening process. So now let's go to the Sharia compliant portfolio features. So in order to develop the mathematical model of the Sharia portfolio, firstly we need to incorporating the screening process into our model. The first one is the screening process. So we will to calculate the quantitative Sharia compliant financial ratios. The first one is the leverage ratio, which is the FJ equal to 1, right? For each asset I with the Sharia board of K. Here we calculate the FJIK, which is equal to total interest debt divided by total income, or 24-month or 36-month market capitalization. The second one is the cash ratio. This is equal to total cash plus the interest based securities. The third one is the liquidity ratio, which is equal to total cash plus the accrued revenue. And then the last one is the non-permissible income ratio. Then the screening criteria is that all the financial ratio need to be less than the boundary U. So this is the example. I retrieved this is the financial ratio data, especially the cash ratio. The cash ratio is this one, J equal to 2. For I, here I use an assets. The first one is the telecom. This is the telecommunication company. This is Unilever, and this is perusahaan gas. This is oil and gas. This is Wika construction company, and this is KLBF. This is the company sell the medicine, and then the Astra. Astra is the automotive company. So I calculate the cash ratio, which is the F2I. This is equal I equal to 1, 2, up to 6. This is for all K. K equal to 1 for the total asset divisor. And then the 24-month market capitalization with the circle 1, and the 36-month market capitalization with the line and dot, line and dot points here. And then I also draw the 33% threshold level, the dot line. Here, for the cash ratio, here if I use the Dow Jones here and S&P, then the Sharia boundary is 33%. Then I draw here the line here, and then I also calculate each stock's cash ratio, which is the cash divided by the divisor. The first divisor is the total asset. And then here, this is, I draw it with the line. And then two other divisors, which are 36-month and the 24-month market capitalization. So we can see here that the cash ratio is a dynamic over time. And this is the example like for perusahaan gas, this is Pigas, and also Wika. Let's see here. This is from 2014 until 2017. If we use the total asset as a divisor of, or we are following the Indonesian Sharia board, then the Wika is considered compliance. However, if we are following the Dow Jones or S&P, which means we use the 24-month market capitalization or the 36-month market capitalization, then in 2017, this cash ratio is higher than the 33% of boundary, which means it's no longer compliance. So for the Muslim investor, then who's considered to following the rules, then they have to sell the stock at this time. Okay, so that's the first, that's another risk for the Muslim investor in Sharia capital market. Okay. And then the next features is the purification process. There are two types of purification processes. The first one is the dividend purification, and then the second one is the investment purification. Okay, so in dividend purification, it means that we need to deduct our dividend income from the percentage of non-permissible income from the entity that we hold. Okay, and then the second one is the investment purification. Whether or not the company or the entity share the dividend, we still need to purify our portfolio from our the return of the investment. Okay, so for example, like in Indonesia, and we only consider the dividend purification, but in some countries they also consider the investment purification. And how to calculate the purification loss per share? This is the amount of money that we need to deduct from our portfolio for the purification process. We define this variable as the purification loss per share for asset I. For the dividend purification is the non-permissible income, including interest per total income, which means this is the percentage or non-permissible income from the stock or from the company times the dividend per share. However, for the investment purification, it will be equal to non-permissible including interest divided by total outstanding shares. Okay. So this is the purification variable, or this is the amount of money that we need to deduct from our portfolio if we consider the purification process. Okay, so this is the dynamic of purification ratios data from 6 companies in Indonesia. I retrieved from the company's financial statement from 2014 until 2019. We may see here that so this is the investment purification always higher than the dividend purification. Okay. Okay, next we go to the model, the portfolio model. So this is the Markowitz model. This is the modern portfolio model proposed by Markowitz in 1952. The investor consider 2 variables. The first one is the return, and then the second one is the risk of the asset. Okay, and the portfolio return is this is RIC, is the return from stock I from the capital market. If the stock price is getting higher compared to the period we buy the stock, then we have a positive return here. So this is the return from the capital market of stock I that we get from the higher value of the stock. plus the return from the dividend share from stock I. So from stock I, we get the total return is the return from the stock price plus return from the dividend share, right? So, and if we assume that Xi is the percentage of our wealth put to the that we put to the stock I. So in total, Xi equal to 100% here, Xi. Then the portfolio rate of return is the asset allocations to the asset I times the return from each asset. And then we get the summation, which is the total return from the portfolio. Okay, so the reward of the portfolio is expected return of the expected of R here, and the riskiness of the portfolio is the variance of the R here. So the portfolio problem here is that the investor want to minimize the riskiness of the portfolio. We want to minimize our risk by minimizing this variance of portfolio subject to here, which means that we want to put all the wealth into the stock, which means here is the summation of the asset allocation equal to 1 or 100%. And we have the target return of mu hat. So the investor have the minimum target return is equal to mu hat. So in terms of the compliant portfolio model here, we need, this is, we are still the same that we are interested in the return of portfolio. So the portfolio return still equal to
Ibu Dila.
Iya, hilang lagi ya?
Iya.
Ya, mohon maaf.
The
Saya
screen
coba
sharing.
Screen share. Excuse me, Burina. I think I need to choose another
Yes, it's okay.
connection.
No
Yeah,
problem.
there's a problem with our connection in our building. Are you in ITB and in math
No,
building?
no.
No, oh, good,
No.
you are. I'm sorry that this problem. Anyway, meanwhile, is there any question?
Oh, yes. If ladies and gentlemen, if you have any question, please feel free to ask question.
Okay. May I ask?
Oh, yes. Yes, Mbak Fitri.
Can hear my voice?
Yes,
Yes.
Mbak Fitri.
Yeah. I'm sorry if very basic about what I asked. I want to ask that the for Sharia complaint, there is two process that we must fulfill. For the screening process, we must do in whole period of that we have time for portfolio.
Yes.
What if in sometimes that there's uh, what is there is not the Sharia law that is fulfilled, so we just out, or there is possible that uh, the stock or become the fulfill the Sharia law again.
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you so much, Mbak Fitriani.
Thank you.
I will explain that circumstances in practice. So let me back to the screen. I'll wait a minute. I will try to share my screen again. Yeah. Okay. So here, this is for example. So that's the circumstances that Bu Fitriani asking is very common in practice. So this is also the example from two companies, Pegas and Wika. In this period, this stock is no longer compliant in mid 2018. So what happened if we hold that stock in this period? For example, we buy the stock at the beginning of 2014, and then we keep the stock because of the price is quite good. For example, we keep the stock, and then in 2018, the stock is no longer compliant. Then what the investor have to do? Then for the Muslim investor or the Sharia compliant fund manager, then this stock has to be sold to the market, whatever the stock price at the time. So if this in these circumstances, there's no option for the investor, that the investor has to sell the stock at this time once the stock is no longer compliant. There are two possibilities in terms of the stock of the price. If the stock price is good, then the investor have a chance to get the portfolio return. However, still the investor need to deduct the return from the selling of the stock by the purification process. And then the second one, how if the second scenario is that the price of the stock is very bad, very low compared to the price that we buy at the previous period. Then we still have the investor still need to sell that stock. Hence, the investor face another risk compared to the conventional investor, because they forced to sell the stock once the stock is no longer compliant at that time. Hopefully that's answer the questions from Ibu Fitriani.
Yeah, thank you, Udila, for the
Yeah.
answer. It's very clear. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, if the stock price is bad at the time the stock is no longer compliance, then the Sharia investor face the loss from the investment. Yeah. Okay. Then we will add the model to minimize that kind of risk, Bu Fitriani, in the next slide. So this is the Markowitz model. This is for the conventional portfolio in the conventional capital market. And this is for the Sharia portfolio. This is exactly the same with the Markowitz model. See this return model, the return equations, except we need to deduct with the purification value. This is the amount of money that we need to deduct from our return asset, the asset return due to the purification process. Okay, so this is the portfolio. Then the portfolio return is just the summation of the purified return. Okay, so the reward of the Sharia compliant portfolio is this is the expected of R, which means the expected return from the stock price plus the expected return from the dividend minus the expected purification loss. This is the C. And the riskiness of the Sharia compliant portfolio is the variance of this variable. The variance is the variance from the stock price plus the variance from dividend plus variance from the purification process minus the covariance of the capital, the variance of the dividend and the purification loss. Here we assume that the stock price and the dividend yield, the dividend share is zero correlated. We only assume that the dividend and the purifications that have the positive correlation. Why? Because the purification is the function of the dividend. Okay. Then this is the portfolio model, the mean variance efficient portfolio problem for the portfolio problem for the Sharia compliant portfolio. We want to minimize the riskiness of the portfolio. So this is the variance of the portfolio. Subject to, this is the, we want the portfolio return equal to the target return. And this is the summation of X or the asset allocation equal to 1, which means that we want to put 100% of our wealth in the capital market. And this is the screening process. Here, we want that the XI have to be higher than 0, which means there's no short selling scenario. And then it has to be less than ZI. And when ZI here is this is the screening criteria. If you still remember, the financial ratio need to be screened is the FJIK need to be less than U. And we want here that the probability that the asset is still compliance have to be higher than some percentage. Here, for example, we choose alpha 5%, which means that we want that the asset always consider compliance for the whole life or of the investment with the high probability higher than 95%. Okay, so if the stock have the risk to be non-compliance, which means have a high probability to be less than the permissible boundary, then the ZJI equal to 0, which means we want to take our asset. If ZI is equal to 0, then the asset allocation of X for asset I equal to 0, which means we don't want to put the asset to the asset I that have a probability to change of the compliance during the investment period. So we will only consider this is ZI will be equal to 1, only if the asset is considered compliant with high probability during the whole life or of the investment period. Why xi have to be less than 1? If xi equal to 1, which means we put 100% of our wealth into the asset I. Hopefully this is easy to understand, but if you still confused with the model, please just raise your hand or ask the question.
Sorry, still.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. That is that Z is can we say in conventional in portfolio conventional that we have constraint about cardinality. So the ZZI that is can it's equal not equal maybe setara with constraint cardinality.
Yes, that's also possible to add another constraint, for example, the cardinality constraint, which means we don't want to put the asset too high. We don't want to put all the asset in the very dominant in one kind of asset. And also, for example, in Indonesia, for the insurance company regulated by the OJK, there's a rule that there's the I think there's the boundary for to invest the asset to each company. It should be less than, if I'm not mistaken, 20% from the total of the wealth of the insurance company. So we can add that constraint to this model. So instead of equal to 1, if this conditional hold, but we change this 1 to the 0.2 for the cardinality constraint. So yeah, so that's also possible.
Okay, thank you. Once more, maybe there is alpha in here. That is there is a boundary for the alpha value. Maybe that's that is a 5% or more bigger is not very. If we just the alpha with the high alpha, there is not good for the model, or we can free to just alpha this decision for that using decision maker.
Yeah. Thanks again for the question. So alpha is the value that depends on the decision maker or of the investor. If the investor is the risk taker, then they will be fine with the lower number of alpha, which means the probability to be the probability for still in compliance not too high. So that's that's how we explain the alpha. But if the for the conservative investor, they want the higher possibility that the asset is always compliant for the whole period of time. Yeah. So depend on the decision making. So I think in the empirical example, we'll show some. I will use some number of alpha.
Okay, thank you, Bu Tia.
Yeah, thank you, Bu Fitriani. And then this is the. So if here in this constraint, the screening process is considered to the asset level, which means that all the asset has to be less than the boundary, the permissible boundary. However, there's also a model. This is proposed by the Islamic scholar. They agree that the screening level is not necessary in the asset level. For example, if there is still permissible if some asset is no compliance, but if we calculate the total of the financial ratio from the portfolio is still less than the permissible boundary, so that's still also okay. It's still permissible. So this is the probability that the total of financial ratio of the portfolio less than the permissible boundary. Okay, we want this the probability of the portfolio level screening. The portfolio is considered Sharia higher than a given a degree of level. So this is the empirical example. So here I use six stock. The first one is the Telkom Indonesia. This is mobile telecommunications, Unilever, the personal products, Pigas, the perusahaan gas negara. This is the exploration and production gas. And then Wika, the Waskita Karya, this is the heavy constructions. And then KLBF, the Kalbe Pharma, this is pharmaceuticals. And ASI, the Astra International, this is the automotive and financial companies. Then we retrieve stock prices and dividend data from Yahoo Finance and financial ratio as well from companies' quarterly financial statement from December 2013 to September 2018. And then we calculate all the variables, which mean the return of the return from the stock price, return from the dividend, and also all the financial ratio. Once we have each variables, we have the mu, and then we choose the target return, And we also have sigma from the data. This is the variance and covariance matrix from the stock price, the dividend price, and also the purification price. I'm sorry. And this is the result. And this is the efficient frontier. So what is the efficient frontier? So this is, if we take the target return, this is, we take the target return from 0.07 until 0.17 here. Here we choose several numbers of mu hat of or the target level. Then for each target level, we optimize the portfolio. Then we get the, so for each target portfolio target return, we calculate this portfolio problem, or then we will get the minimum value or the minimum value of the variance of portfolio, or the riskiness of the portfolio. The higher the return, the riskiness, the riskier is the portfolio here. For example, for the conventional portfolio here, the conventional line, this is with the line. For the target return of 8%, then the variance or the riskiness of the portfolio is equal to 10, this is about 11%. If we want a higher return, for example, the 17% of the return of the portfolio, then we will hold the higher risk, higher of the riskiness of the portfolio, which is equal to 21%. Okay, and from this efficient portfolio efficient frontier, we can compare the portfolio. The conventional portfolio have the higher value, which means better compared to the Sharia portfolio. This is, of course, because there's no riskiness from the Sharia screening, and also there's no deduction from the purification process. This is for the conventional without any constraint, which means we can short sell the stock price, or we can buy the stock without buying first, or we borrow the stock from the capital market. However, in some countries, for example, in Indonesia, Malaysia, and China, the short selling scenario is forbidden. So the conventional one without short selling is this one here, lower than the conventional without short selling constraint here. Then we compare to the our Sharia portfolio without we are not incorporating the screening process, only consider the purification process. Then we see that if we take into account the dividend purification and the investment purifications, there's not too sensitive to the model. And also the efficient frontier is not very different with the conventional one without a short selling. So the variable that is very sensitive to the portfolio is the short selling one. Okay, so, and also this is the impact of the probabilistic constraint. Yeah. Sorry, Miss Rina, I think there's still again.
Yeah, it's okay, no problem.
Again, a problem with the internet connection. Okay, I can reshare again the last two slides. So this is the alpha level as questioned by Bu Fitriana. This is if we take 10% of alpha and 1% of alpha. How the alpha is the probability to be still in compliance. So this is the result. We can see here. This line is without screening process, and then we take into account three types of diffusers from several advisory board. K equal to 1 for Indonesia Sharia Board, K equal to 2 equal to the SNP, and K equal to 3 for the Dow Jones Islamic Market. We can see that for alpha equal to 10% or 1%, there's no the type of diffuser is quite sensitive. We may see here that for alpha is 10% and 1%, that if we use the K equal to 1, the Indonesian Sharia board, we have a smaller universe here. And here also, if we consider the alpha level equal to only 1%, then the efficient frontier of the Sharia portfolio quite similar with the non-screening process. Okay, so that's the result of the efficient frontier, and this is the asset allocation. If we are without a screening process, we get if we want the return of the portfolio is equal to 7%, then we get the minimum risk of portfolio is 1%. 10%. By putting our asset in Telkom 19.3%, in the Unilever, this is the dominant one, more than half of our asset we put in the Unilever, which is 55%, and in the Perusahaan Gas Negara is 21%, and KLBF is 4%. This is the asset allocation without a screening. However, if we consider screening to screen the asset, then we get if we want the return is equal to 20, the target return is 12% here, then we get the higher riskiness of portfolio compared to the non-screening one, 16%. And this is the asset allocation. Yeah, I think that's also the last slide of my talk. Is there any questions from the participants? Yeah, thank you, Ms. Rina.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Dila, for the presentation. I think it's now time to transition to Q&A session. So anyone who wants to ask question, please feel free to do so. You can click raise hand button, or if you are more comfortable to write your question, please type your question and then submit in the chat box. Okay, Ibu Dila, while we are waiting for the question from participants, maybe I want to ask first question.
Yes, yes,
May
yes,
I?
yes. Yes.
So actually, this is new for me. I'm a beginner in this topic because my background is not in this area. My background is in fluid dynamics, so it's rather far, quite far. But this is an interesting topic, I think, and I want to know more about the screening process that you have said on slide 7. Slide 7. So if I'm not mistaken, you stated that in Indonesia, there are only two ratios used.
Yeah.
Those are leverage ratio and NPI ratio. So what is the
Yeah.
challenges, or is it difficult for the company to fulfill the 4 ratio in Indonesia, or yeah, the simple is why is the reason we only use this 2 ratio? That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Ms. Rina, for the question. An interesting questions that also not my expertise actually to answer the answer, because I'm more focused on the mathematical model. But I also read some literature to related to your questions. Why in Indonesia there's only 2 ratio compared to other advisory board or to other countries? This is because first of all, the Indonesian capital market is still emerging. Not so many stocks in Indonesia compared to other countries like in America, in the New York Stock Exchange. So that if we're really strict to the screening process, then the rest of the Sharia capital market stock will be harder, which means to be considered compliance, then the stock has to follow for types of rules that could be harder to followed by the stock, that will be reduced the asset universe from the Indonesian capital market, that can be that's maybe not interesting for the Muslim investor in Indonesia. That's also the reason why the boundary in Indonesia is higher compared to other countries. For example, for the non-permissible income in Indonesia is considered should be less than 10% compared to other country, only 5%. And also the ratio for the leverage ratio is 45%, also higher than other countries, which is most of them is the 1/3, less than 1/3 of the leverage ratio. Yeah, I think that's the one of the answer, because of the market is still emerging here. Mhm. Yeah, hopefully that's
Okay.
answer the question.
Yeah, thank you, Bu Dila. I used to ask the
Yeah.
next question about the threshold or the boundary, but you stated the answer before, so I think that's all. Thank you so much for the answer. Okay, Bu Dila.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Rina.
We get the question from participant Mr. Diki Fernandi on the chat box. Assalamualaikum, Miss Dila Puspita. I would like to us about what are the future prospects and challenges for the growth of Islamic portfolio theory in global markets.
Wow. Hard questions. What are the future prospects and challenges for the growth of Islamic portfolio theory in global market? Thank you for the questions, Mr. Dicky. Hello, do you want to open me? Or okay, that's a hard questions. This is are you Mr. Dicky, are you an undergraduate or a graduate student? Or maybe even a schooler? My signal is bad. Okay, yeah, no worries. So there are still so many challenges in terms of the portfolio model. Hopefully, I point out your questions. If your questions is about the research in the modeling for the modern portfolio for the Sharia compliant capital market, there are still so many things to be considered to the model. For example, I think we can first to the conventional model, then we can adjust it to the Sharia portfolio, because the literature in the conventional portfolio theory is like millions, but for the Sharia portfolio, only a short list that I have shown to you in the introduction of my slide. Only several literatures, maybe only 10 lists of the research in the Sharia portfolio model. So, for example, you can consider this time we are talking about the one period portfolio problem. However, you can also extend the model into the multi-period problem, which means more closer to the practice of the investment portfolio investment. Why? Because you can rebalancing your portfolio more than once. That's also important. And also by doing so, we can see the dynamic of the compliance of the stock, as asking by Ms. Fitriana. We can see the dynamic in if we see in our previous model in one period problem, we couldn't see the change of the compliance of the stock. But if you extend the model to the multi-period problem, maybe it can be more profound, the impact of the impact of the screening process into the model, and also closer to the practice that one extended the model into the multi-period one. Maybe that's interesting challenge to be done. Hopefully that is answering your question, Ms. Dicky, Mr. Dicky.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dicky, for the questions. Any question from other participants? Okay, we are still waiting for the questions. And maybe my second question, may I?
Okay, yeah, sure.
About Markowitz model on slide 4.
Yeah.
So, there are three what we call portfolio rate of return, and then reward of portfolio, and then riskiness of portfolio. We call them as a model, right? And the objective is to minimize the risk. Can we make the model to have the objective to maximize the return or the reward?
Yeah. Thank you for the another interesting questions, Miss Rina, because that's also a theorem in this Markowitz model. So in Markowitz model, the first model we can the objective function can be minimize the risk of the portfolio subject to the target return. And the second model can be maximizing the return subject to or with the constraint at not a target risk, which means that so the investor, if we have the risk profile of the investor, then we want the if we have the risk profile of the portfolio, the risk profile of the investor, then we can set the portfolio return equal to the risk profile of the investor. Okay, so that can be our constraint, and then the objective is to maximizing the return subject to the setting of the risk profile. That can also be another model, the second model. And we have a theorem that those two models, minimizing the risk or maximizing the return, should have the same equal result in terms of the efficient frontier. The result of the efficient frontier will be equal or the same. Yeah, or even we can also have the multi-objective function by maximizing the return at the same time minimizing the risk with the yeah, that's also another model that can be proposed. Yeah, hopefully that's is that answering your question.
Yeah, thank you, Ibu Dila, for the clear answer. I think there are so many challenges for us as a mathematician, right, to modify the model, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions from participants?
Okay, so if you are asking how I solve this optimization problem, actually that's I don't use any advanced mathematics on it. So that's the only mathematical modeling or tools that I show to you is only on this screen. So I just solve this problem by using the optimization solver. I use the what we call the optimization solver called Lingo software. So you can just put the variance or covariance matrix, set the target level, and then here, for example, you assume that the financial ratio following the normal distribution with a given mu or a given mean and standard deviation, then throw everything into the solver, then you will get the result. Yeah, so this is the result. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay,
Of course, for
thank
the
you.
mathematics students, yeah, for different
Yeah.
assets. But if you are the mathematics students wants to apply some mathematical tools, you can also use the first differentiable and also and so on. You can also do that. Okay, I think we have another questions from Bu Enda, Ms. Rina.
Yes, from Bu Enda, is the optimization applicable for different asset, in example, Islamic and non-Islamic assets?
Yeah, thank you so much for the questions. And, okay, so here, yeah, we can, so in this model, what we have to do is just doing the, first of all, we need, if we want to get the, Sharia portfolio from this model, we just need to consider the qualitative model that hasn't been incorporating into this model, because this is the qualitative. Yeah. After that, then we don't have to do the quantitative screening process first, because it can be screened in this constraint. Yeah. So without this constraint, without this particular constraints, we have only the conventional portfolio, that the asset universe is all, including the Sharia and the non-Sharia asset. By adding these constraints, then we will screen the universe into the only Sharia asset. Is that your questions, Bu Enda, or maybe you have other comment? Yeah, so we can use this problem for Sharia and non-Sharia model. And another features that make the difference from the Sharia and the non-Sharia is in this mu and sigma value from the purification variables. So yeah.
There is another question from Ibu Enda, Udila.
Oh yeah, okay. Let me see.
So the main things is setting up the constraint.
So the main thing is setting up the constraint. Yes, yeah, Bu Enda, setting up the constraint. Yeah. So the screening, this is the screening constraints that make, this is the screening constraints for the Sharia portfolio. So if we don't consider, so if we want to take into account all the asset universe, we don't want the Sharia constraint, which means there's no boundary, right? So the boundary is equal to 0, it will be equal to the similar conventional portfolio. We also can use this model to other social responsibility investment, not only for the Sharia portfolio. For example, currently we have the socially responsibility investment, like the green investment, for the investor who's investing not only to take the return from the investment, but they also consider just to invest their money only to the green company. So we can change these screening constraints into the green constraints. instead of using the Sharia screening ratio, we can change this ratio into the green ratio. For example, the CO level of the company. Yeah. That's also another application of this model into other socially responsibility investment as well. Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, Ibu Endah, maybe there's another question. Okay, thank you, Ibu Endah, for the question. Okay, any question from another participant? No questions so far? Okay, I think it's enough maybe, Budila.
Yeah.
No more questions. Okay, thank you so much, Budila. We truly appreciate your time and effort. And I hope this course has broadened our knowledge. But before we end this course, I want to take a moment to have a picture together. So please, ladies and gentlemen, turn your camera on. I will start capturing the screen. Okay. We have only wait a minute. Okay. I will count. First slide, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Next slide. 1, 2, 3. And then next slide. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, now before we end this session, I think Budila, would you like to give us a closing statement?
Yeah. Okay, I just like to thanks all the organizer, the moderator, Miss Rina, and all the organizers of this year's IFVC and all the participants for the attentions. Please feel free if you still have any questions, you can send me an email. And also I have sent the slides and also the paper related to the to my talk to the organizer that can be shared to the participants. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dila. Okay, before we leave this meeting, I would like to remind you to fill in the attendance link that we have shared on the chat box. And then make sure you finish your assignment before the deadline. And also I also remind you that we have another incredible class tomorrow with Dr. Muhammad Rahim Kamis from University Teknologi Mara on 9 a.m. Western Indonesian time with the topic Wakaf Engineering. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all for today. See you tomorrow. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, everyone.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Budila.
Thank you, Budila.